Hi, I'm Scott, one of the gardeners here at Beth Chatto's, and today the gardening team are working in the gravel garden and we're cutting back some of the perennials and taking out some of the biennials from the garden that have finished, and we're getting the garden ready for spring. We're working here today because some of the rest of the garden is really frosty and we want to try and stay off the lawns and the borders as much as possible. So working in a garden like this at this time is really ideal. We're the third week of January at the moment and we've had quite a lot of frost so far this week, so trying to keep off the borders that have got snowdrops and bulbs coming up and through is ideal. So doing this kind of job is really good at this time. I'm going to try and show you some different examples of the plants that we've got in this garden that we're going to be cutting back, the way that we treat them and why we're doing them. So I'm going to start with this euphorbia that we've got here, and you can see in front here we cut the spent stems of this plant, but we leave the fresh new foliage that's coming through. So it's just a matter of taking a stem and cutting it as low as possible right at the base and just working through, taking all of those spent stems out of the plant. So, okay, so all of those that are finished can come out. Okay, so once you've removed all of that, you can see that you're left with this sort of new fresh crown of foliage that's coming up and through. Some of them here are a bit shorter, but and these ones here are a bit longer, but we've treated them exactly the same. So just working all the way through, cutting all of those stems out. So we can work all the way through that plant. So the next plant I've got is this verbena, and we treat the verbena slightly differently. We don't want to cut this one right down to the base. We want to cut it just slightly higher, to about this kind of height here, and we'll take it just above a node where we've got another little bud coming through it. And we don't want to cut that so low in case we do have any more frosts or any more harsh weather or snow and anything like that, because the verbena won't like that. So we'll take it just a little bit higher up, and that will help to protect this crown and the new foliage that's coming through it. So we can just take those back a bit higher up like that. This one here looks dead. It's brown compared to the green one. And that one we can take out completely. That one we won't want to keep. And then we've got some other examples of ones that have fallen over. They're not upright. They're not going to be any good. So we'll take these ones out completely. So anything that's fallen over, not looking very good. There's one here that's bent right over. It's crossing other plants, other stems. It's not going to grow where we want it, so we'll take ones like that out completely, and the rest we can filter through. So dead ones we can cut out, and then new ones we can cut back, in this example, by about half. And you see we're just taking them back just above a pair of leaves, and this will regrow from here. You can start to see it all coming down to that same height all the way through. Okay, the third plant we're looking at is this blue pleurum. We treat this differently to the other two plants that we've just done in that we can take this one back really quite harsh. We've got the dead stems that you can see here, and then the crown, the new crown that's coming through. So we can take all of those dead stems right back at the base, cut them right off, just like this. So you can see we're taking them all the way down. They've got the new foliage here, and it doesn't matter too much if you cut any of these, because this will just keep coming and provide new stems. So it doesn't matter if you nick the odd one as you cut them, but we just want to work all the way around them. Take all of those stems out. Just like this. And then you can see, if you open up, you can get right down to the base and just keep cutting those stems out. Okay, so we've got those first three plants there, and we're just treating them all differently, but don't be afraid to cut them. Okay, we're at the end of the gravel garden now, and we've got another set of plants that I want to show you, starting with this Stipa. We've got till the middle of February, start of March to get this cut. So I'm not going to actually do it today because the weather means that it's too cold and we might have more bad weather to come, so we don't want to risk losing the plant. But when we do cut it at that time, we'll gather it all up and we'll cut it quite low, so that the new shoots are ready to come through. Okay, so that's the Stipa. The next one we've got is this Nepeta. Now all this foliage here we can cut back really hard. Nepetas grow really well. Lots of growth will come from that. So we're not afraid at this time to cut all this back quite hard. And if I take some off, like this, so really hard, and we open that crown up, you can start to see in here all the new shoots for the spring that are coming through. So we want to get rid of all this top foliage and allow that to come through. So just work your way round and cut it all back. Like that, and then you can see those new shoots in here ready to come through. We've got some biennials in the garden, like this Eryngium. This is Mrs. Wilmot's Ghost, and we would ideally take these out of the garden now, but because the ground's really frozen, I don't want to do that just yet, so we will come back and take all of these out. We've then got the Perennials here. This one, we don't want to cut back into this older wood at the base, but what we do want to do is cut it back to one or two buds just above this newer growth in here. So we'll take it back quite hard, but not all the way. So we'll work our way around to a couple of buds. And clear it up. The same with any of the plants. If there's anything in here that's dead or dying, crossing over, doesn't look good, we can remove all of that as you would with any plant. But generally, we're just looking for those two buds. And you can see you get this head that's left, and all these will begin to shoot. So, next we've got this Hylotelethium. sedums, you may know them as. And these stems here are all finished now, they're all spent. They've done a good job of keeping this new crown, the new heads coming through. They look beautiful in the frost, but now's the time, because these buds are really starting to come on now, to get these cut back. So again, anything here that's this old brown stem that you can see, you can take right back really hard and open that crown, ready for the spring. So if I open that up like that, you can start to see all the new heads coming through. Okay. The next plant is the Virginia. Now these tend to get hit a little bit by the frost and they go brown and they don't look too attractive like this. And then you get in here, if you cut them, you've got a lot of really brown and dead leaves like this. So we can work our way through the whole plant and we can remove any of the material that looks like this. Just cut it out right back to the stem and they come away nice and easily. So you can cut those all quite hard, and then anything that's damaged or been caught by the frost like this, you can take those out as well, again right the way back, and that will just clean the plant up. It will look nice. It will get rid of all this sort of material that's sitting on top of the stems, and it will let the air get in there and you'll just have a really nice healthy plant. We've got other biennials in the garden as well, like this verbascum. This is bombiciferum, and this is finished now for the year, so this can come out of the garden completely. We tend to use a border fork for this because they've got quite a big root, but it will come out easily. But I'm not going to do that today again because it's so frosty, the ground is so hard, I'm going to really struggle to get it out, so that's a job for later.